Tonight on Joy News Prime, we bring you the first in series profiling some of the most prominent Ghanaians of our time with former President Akufo on Ghana's Greats, which comes up at 8 o'clock. Before then, though, experts questions claims Ghana's COVID-19 situation is under control, citing the decline in active cases as government announces plans to open up Ghana's airspace to international flights. We'll get an update from some of the regions with no active cases. Also, minority push for a reversal of the mineral royalty agreement, which will see a collateralization of Ghana's gold earnings. And School of Hygiene students picket once again over unpaid allowances, accusing government of deceit and lack of transparency.
They're thinking about our money. Are we not citizens of this country? Are we not Ghanaians?
And in business, President Akufo-Addo commissions African Continental Fre Trade Secretariat, urging member states to regularize their membership by close of year.
Ghana has fully discharged all her obligations and commitments agreed with the AU Commission. And we are today handing over a fully furnished and befitting office.
And one of the Multimedia Group's longest-serving editors, Saeed Yaqub, interred in accordance with Islamic customs after his demise on Sunday. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Joy News Prime comes to you from our studios in Kokomlemle in Accra on your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air, and on digital DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. Many thanks for choosing us. In our very first story, some health experts are doubting claims by President Akufo-Addo that his government's COVID-19 policies have resulted in a significant drop in active cases. In his 15th address to the nation, the president mentioned 4 out of 16 regions, Savannah, Upper East, West, and Northeast, are without any active cases. And an epidemiologist and senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Medical School, Dr. Benedict Calys-Tagoe, doubts this claim. He will be joining us shortly. But before that, let's hear from the president.
I indicated that a closer look at the data points to the fact that we are steadily on the path towards limiting and containing the virus and ultimately defeating it. And I requested all of us to pay particular attention to the number of active cases. As of 24th July, the number of active cases, i.e. persons with the virus, stood at 3,307. As of Saturday, 15th August, 3 weeks later, the number of active cases stands at 1,847. This is a clear indication that government policies are working. Currently, there are no recorded COVID-19 cases in the Northeast, Savannah, Upper East, and Upper West regions. And I charge their residents to do everything possible to maintain that situation. Greater Accra, Ashanti, Central, Eastern, and Western continue to be the regions with the highest number of active cases. Thus far, a total of 40,567 persons have recovered from the virus. This means our recovery rate has improved from 89.5% to 95.1% in 3 weeks. Our death rate continues, mercifully, to be low at 0.5%. Happily, there are no backlogs of tests at any of our testing centers.
I've been joined via Zoom by Albert Story, Joy News correspondent in the Upper East region, one of 4 regions without an active COVID-19 case. Albert, last Friday when we spoke to you, you indicated that though there were no active cases, there were samples of suspected cases that had been sent to Tamale but were yet not confirmed. Is there an update on that?
Yes, Aisha. This evening, again, I spoke with the Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Wilfred Ofosu, and he has told me that up to now, they have not yet received the test results for the samples they sent to Tamale. They are expecting information as to when they can expect the results from tomorrow. So as we speak, they are yet to receive the results of the samples that they sent for testing.
But talking about COVID-19 protocols, has the situation changed yet in the region? Because I remember the last time you spoke about how people were ignoring them.
Exactly. So the situation with gatherings is that they are still maintaining the protocols. The challenge is when you go to town, people tend to still not wear face masks and all of that. So not much has changed as far as that is concerned. But again, because of the update we got last time concerning the preparations of the Navrongo Health Research Center to test samples, the health director this evening has told me that plans are far advanced. In fact, sorry, as we speak, what they are waiting for is a few last-minute things they need to do, and then to have some officials from Noguchi come down and then collaborate with the staff they have recruited here to do some training before the testing will start. So hopefully, in the course of the week, that will be done. And latest by next week, the Navrongo Health Research Center should be on the way to be able to test COVID-19 samples.
Albert, sorry, is our correspondent in the Upper East region. We'll be getting to the Upper West region and speak with Rafiq Salam. Rafiq, is the situation different at your end? Rafiq, you're muted. Kindly unmute.
The situation in the Upper West region is, hello?
You're on Joy News Prime, and I can hear you loud and clear.
The situation in the Upper West region is not different from that of the Upper East region. Samples have been sent day in, day out, but they are yet to receive the test results of these samples. I have checked with the Health Directorate in the Upper West region here, and then the last time that they received samples or test results from Tamale was somewhere around the 27th of July, 2020. And those samples were sent to Tamale on the 5th of June. And so last week, and even Saturday, results were sent from Tamale. As I speak to you now, they haven't gotten the results yet. And so they have few samples, over 1,000 samples they are waiting for. And I can even tell you that some of the health authorities are telling me that they have even forgotten of some of the test results because some were sent over 3 months ago, and they don't think that it will even be useful for now.
Rafiq Salam is our correspondent in the Upper West region. Dr. Benedict Calys-Tagoe is an epidemiologist, and he says the figures being churned out isn't a true reflection of what's on the ground. We'll try and get him on Zoom for more on this, but listen to him earlier.
We need to look at these pieces of information and the data carefully. It is one thing having data and another thing interpreting or misinterpreting the data. We have been testing for cases and picking up cases. Over the time, from the time we started this management, the number of testing is gradually declining. We are no longer doing aggressive testing as we used to do. Now, the number of active cases we have at any point in time is a direct product of our testing rates. If we are testing more and the disease is in the community, we will be picking up more. If we are testing more and the disease is not there, we would be picking up less. However, if we are testing less, it stands to reason that we would pick up less. So the number of active cases is just one side of the story. For any communicable disease, there are two groups of people you worry about as far as transmission is concerned. The active cases, those who have been diagnosed as having the diseases, that's one group. The second group are those who are asymptomatic, but still have the capacity to transmit this infection. We refer to them as carriers. For the active cases, we have identified them and we are in the position to implement our measures and treat them.
You heard Dr. Calys-Tagoe earlier on the midday news, and of course we'll be trying to get him back on Zoom for more. But students of the Ghana School of Hygiene have accused government of deceit and lack of transparency in its handling of their unpaid allowances due them since 2017. For the second time in 2 weeks, the students picketed at the premises of the Sanitation Ministry demanding the payments. Now, while in response, the ministry said it will constitute a committee to facilitate the release of the monies, the students went ahead to register their displeasure. Manuel Cranting was there for Joy News and has more in this report.
They give us our money. Are we not citizens of this country? Are we not Ghanaians? Why is that not listening to us? Why is that not coming to our head? We need our money just to give us our money. We need our money. We are not living here. If you want us to die, yes, we will die for you to see that we need our money. Why?
Tamale and Ho School of Hygiene. I'm from Ho. We have colleagues here from Tamale. We have been here since, and our colleagues are there and they are writing exams. So the chief director should call the principals of the two schools of hygiene that they can't do that to us. We need our money. So if they are writing exams behind us, we will send them to court. Today we are not joking. We want our money. So they should bring our money to us. If it is tabletop, they should give it to us. We are taking it now. If it is the committee that is going to take 3 years again, we want it today. They should put it in sack. They should give it to us. We're going to disperse it among ourselves. We want our money.
This is the second exercise in just about 2 weeks from students of the School of Hygiene. They are here just like they were just about a week ago, and their request is for the allowances to be released to them. They tell me that for about 30 months since 2017, when the new government led by Akufo-Addo took over and promised to restore the allowances to them, they have not for once received the allowances. They came here about a week ago and were told that preparations were underway to release the funding to them. But they have come again 10 days down the lane with the same request, meaning that the monies have not been released to them. A few of them are here. In fact, I'll be speaking to them and getting some reaction from them.
Last 2 weeks, Thursday, that was the 6th of August. We were here, Schools of Hygiene Ghana. We have the 3 schools of hygiene, Ho, Tamale, and Kolebu. We came to the Ministry of Sanitation, asked Nana to restore the health training allowance. The schools of hygiene have been ignored, neglected. For 3 good years now, we have not been paid. So we were here to also mount pressure on the ministry to make sure that they pay our allowances to us. But without a clearance today, we are not living here. We brought our gari, we brought our shito, we brought our mattresses, we brought our cylinder, even for cooking. We will cook here today.
But the ministry says it is setting up a committee to facilitate the release of the funds.
The ministry has decided that a committee be formed with you represented. That information has been given to your people. So now they are asking us to meet you and get your consent to be part of the committee. That's why I'm here. A committee to follow up the process leading to your... Okay. No, are you prepared to be part of the committee? You see, we don't want a situation where today somebody will come and say, oh, I went here, had conflicting information. We want you to be part of the committee so that at each step on the way, you know what is happening. That is why I've been asked to come and meet you.
Now we are not agreeing to anything. We are staying here. Now for the committee, our people will be part. Now let them go and bring our money. Guys, we are not going to fight the police. We are not going to fight the ministry. But what you are telling the president that the president should direct the ministry. Now the ministry is trying to form a committee. So the committee, until when are we going to receive our money? It is simple and short. We want a financial clearance. And our people have been demonstrating and getting their clearance. But our schools have had in 3 years now. Why?
We have our mosquito nets in our bags, and then we also came with our mosquito repellent. We have our trousers, our long sleeves, socks. Like, we are ready to sleep here. So we will sleep here.
What are the implications of sleeping here, abandoning all your classroom work and so on? What are the implications for you and your certificate?
Well, I think 12,000 is worth all this struggling. Sure.
We're learning that the students have been dispersed and have been pepper sprayed by the police. We'll be getting some reactions for you. It's been 2 days since they were forced out of their homes and businesses by a fire outbreak. With thousands of cities lost to the inferno, they're now wondering how to survive. Although their MP, the NDC parliamentary candidate and Presbyterian Church have sheltered them for now, the homeless residents say they would rather have justice too and can't wait till the accused of the cause of the blaze and persons behind it are found. There is more in the following report.
Hundreds of makeshift structures were up in flames in the part of Shiashi known as Kiosk Estates. Residents were confused by the sudden disaster. Some tried to douse the fires, but many more had to run for their lives. Ellis Robinson Oko, head of public affairs for the Ghana National Fire Service, describes the situation when his team arrived at the scene as dangerous.
When we came to the fire, we realized that the whole area was engulfed with fire. But then electricity was live over here, and it made the firefighting very dangerous. So we had to call electricity company to put off power before we can fight the fire.
When the flames doused, there were many rendered homeless.
Those were scenes of a fire outbreak on Friday, the 14th of August, 2020. That's 2 days ago at this place, Shiashi in Accra. About 600 residents, or in fact occupants, we've been told, have been displaced following that. Some 100 stores, some business, some serving as homes, mostly makeshift structures, have been affected heavily by that fire outbreak. Hundreds more like this bottle right here were filled in this particular store. But today, thousands of Ghana cedis have been lost across this very area. Many of them are angry. Many are also sad, appealing to government to come to their aid as their livelihoods, like this bottle here, has been destroyed.
I saw plastic drinks, I saw water, this Belakwa water, a lot of things, fruit drinks and other things. You can even see they are inside there. They are all bent. All the crates are bent.
And how much of CDs are we talking about lost here, estimate?
I can't tell, it's getting to, let's say, 8,000.
In fact,
Felicia here is a seamstress. She tells me she had just bought a new machine that she was going to work with when that issue happened.
Me papa said me could just call Stanbic Bank 70 million. And I say on pano, everyone on me call motor in me cause and call voter. Me for my canna with their brand of voter. And see me they go to her. And I say everyone who match my sorry they are shaka or motor in a come with their corner. Or also a car until me dim cast me call fire no. TV remote ben me sakae.
Famous Gonye is a security officer. He tells me that on that Friday night, as the fire raged, as he tried to salvage as much as he could, in the heat, he took something and he spread out to save his life and others. It was only till later that he realized that this particular thing he had taken was nothing other than the TV remote.
Several of them had taken to the streets when Joy News arrived here. Today,
there's a push by the minority in Parliament for government to reverse the controversial Japan Mineral Royalty Limited agreement with government, describing the deal as repugnant to the country's constitution. The deal allows for the collateralization of Ghana's gold returns in exchange for an initial sum of about $500 million. Parliament approved the agreement despite a walkout by the minority late Friday night. We'll hear from both sides of the House soon, but first, Parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo joins me in the studio with more. Okay, so he's via Zoom. Joseph, what's the background to this deal?
And so just to mention that, you know, Ghana has a lot of mineral resources. We have a lot of gold, diamond, bauxite and all. Now, the money that we gain from this is usually through royalties, which the mining companies would usually pay to government. And then we also earn some bit of money from equity as far as these resources are concerned. So they'll usually go into the consolidated fund But in 2018, government passed the Mineral Incomes Investment Fund Act, and that sets up the Mineral Income Investment Fund to manage the equity and the royalties. And that fund is actually the organization that's actually established this offshore company, Ejapa Royalties, to actually manage the necessary resources. And it's actually incorporated in JC UK, which is a tax haven, and is that agreement to allow for that has been laid in Parliament and approved by the House on Friday.
Gakwa, how much money is coming into the country in exchange for this?
So the indication is that now that the company has been established, this is actually a company that's 100% owned by government for now, but they would float some of the shares in that up to 49% of the stake. That process will raise about $1 billion out of that. The government of Ghana will lay hold of about $500 million in order to use for various investments. And as and when the royalties come through, and also the equity revenue comes through, it won't go back to the government of Ghana, but specifically to Ejapa, so that then the shareholders of that firm, including the government of Ghana, will benefit going forward.
Let's listen to John Jinapo, who is a member of the minority and also a member of the Energy and Mines Committee in Parliament.
Mr. Speaker, the minority side, we are patriots. We believe in Ghana. We believe in the right thing. We will not be part of an illegality today, tomorrow, the day before tomorrow, or forever. Mr. Speaker, indeed, we wash our hands clearly. Mr. Speaker, this agreement or transaction is repugnant to Article 106, clause 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Mr. Speaker, we will not be part of this agreement. Mr. Speaker, today is a very sad day indeed. I cannot believe that this government can bring such an agreement for us to approve. But let me send a word of caution, and let me state that today is the Friday, the 14th of August, 2020, in the year of our Lord, that a future NDC government will not honor this agreement.
Well, Chairman of the Finance Committee in Parliament, Dr. Marcus Saeed, says the deal is good for the country.
Set up a fund to collect all of our minerals royalties. So maybe make $100 million a year. All the royalties are paid to the Minerals Income Investment. These trickle in year after year. All that we are doing is that now the Minerals Income Investment Fund has set up a special purpose vehicle, a Japan royalties. This special purpose vehicle lists on the London Stock Exchange. When it lists on the London Stock Exchange, then investors are going to own shares in it. The Japan Minerals royalties, government retains 51% shares. So shareholders, and the shareholders could be you. It's also going to dually list on the Ghana Stock Exchange. It could be you and I or somebody sitting wherever in the world. They are going to own only 49% of the shares thereof. So 51% retained by government, 49% retained goes to shareholders who could be anybody. Okay? So if we list and then we are able to raise whatever money, the flows from the royalties annually that go to the Minerals Income Investment Fund and transfer to the special purpose vehicle go to pay these investors who hold shares in this company. And mind you, government retains 51% shares in Ejapa too. So this is serious investment banking, and people have sat down to put all of this together. Anybody complaining about it, I call it jealousy.
Margaret Sibeyeboa is chairman of the Finance Committee of Parliament. This is a topic we'll be exploring at 9 p.m. on PM Express. Stay on the Joy News channel for a continuation of this discussion. Now, hundreds of mourners, including high-profile persons, Monday joined the family of Saeed Ali Yaqub and the Multimedia Group to bid farewell to its longest-serving news editor. Saeed Ali Yaqub died on Sunday morning at the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital after a short illness. Per Islamic practice, Saeed, who was affectionately called the editor's editor, was buried in his hometown, Jamase, in the Ashanti region. The Multimedia Group earlier held a special service for him at the company premises in Kumasi, where KNUST Vice-Chancellor Professor Rita Akwesua-Dixon described him as someone whose life is worth emulating. Here's a report filed by the team.
What a friend we have in Jesus, all our sins and griefs to bear. Oh, what peace we all think for it. Oh, what needless pain we bear, all because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. Things happens in our life in seasons. But said the Ecclesiastes chapter 3 can ade biara wɔ ne mmere a onyame ahyato hɔ ama no.
Saeed was the editor's editor. He was the boss's boss. Affable, a go-to person. He will listen to you. Others who were in other media establishments, anytime we bumped into each other, there was that communication, verbal or non-verbal, of positive nature you always take away. He's calm, he will engage you in a calm manner, and he didn't need to shout. So when I saw on social media that he was no more, I could not put my thoughts together, because like, why Saeed at this time?
He's been very professional. He's ready to help you to learn. He's ready to train other people around. And I believe that if all bosses have that dedication to helping other workers develop, even when they are long gone, the work will continue. We will get other people trained to do what they were doing.
Everything that guy does is genuine. One gentleman said something on air when I was listening to them on the morning show. He said, when Saeed came, he learned a lot from Saeed, meaning that that guy knows what he's doing. If you're a leader and someone hardly learns something from you, then it's a question mark.
Very difficult, very tough news. You know, sometimes when you hear some of these news, you just pray it away. And then looking forward to the fact that somebody will just emerge and say, oh, it was one of those things. It's actually not true. But then we woke up this morning and indeed, it has been confirmed. Words will actually fail us to try to put value on how we feel about the situation. But again, who are we to question God?
I think moving forward, let's find a day within the year or each year to celebrate him and remember him. And those journalists he groomed, the biggest legacy they can leave in his memories is to aspire to professional standards and make sure the ethics of the profession are not lost. They should keep being the standard they have been all these years, in memory of Alhaji Saeed Ali Yaqub.
May his soul rest in perfect peace. We'll take a break. We'll bring you business. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sandra Esinamap, and I'm here for business. President Akufo-Addo has challenged African countries that have not regularized their African Continental Free Trade Area AfCFTA membership to do so before the end of this year. Handing over the headquarters of the African Continental Free Trade Area to the AU Commission, President Akufo-Addo pledged Ghana's commitment towards effective implementation of the world's biggest trade agreement. More details in the following report.
For decades, Ghana has chanted the slogan, "The Gateway to Africa," drawing attention to Western investors to visit Ghana once they decide to invest in the sub-region. Touted as the world's largest market, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement is bound to break barriers and set new frontiers on the continent. At today's commissioning, President Akufo-Addo pledged Ghana's commitment towards effective implementation of Africa's vision.
I have no doubt that the coming into being of the African Continental Free Trade Area is one of the most important decisions taken by the AU. When you consider the fact that trade between African countries remains low, currently standing at some 16% of our combined GDP, compared to other parts of the world, like the European Union 75%, it is obvious that these very low levels of intra-regional trade constitute one of the defining characteristics of our continuing poverty.
Foreign Affairs Minister Shirley Ayokoboche indicated works are ongoing in infrastructure development to ensure all the signatory members are rolled in.
At the regional level, what we are doing is using the regional economic communities as the building blocks. And therefore, all the infrastructure projects that we have, and I take the example of ECOWAS, where we have the Lagos-Abidjan project, road project, and then Abidjan-Praia. So all the regional economic communities are developing their infrastructure.
Minister for Trade, Alan John Tremantin, explains how Ghana will benefit from the implementation of the deal.
Ghana has developed a national plan and program of action to harness the benefits of the AfCFTA. And this is based on 7 clusters that were actually recommended by the heads of states of the African Union.
Wamkele Mini, the first Secretary General of the AfCFTA, said he is ready to make Africa the best market in the world.
This strain on the multilateral trading system has a risk of reversing the modest gains that we made in placing development at the center of the multilateral trading system since we launched the Doha Development Round in Qatar in 2001. Africa's response against this strain on the multilateral trading system must be to consolidate and advance our continental market integration objectives through the AfCFTA.
The new AfCFTA Secretariat sits at the heart of Accra, furnished with state-of-the-art facilities and security features.
Meanwhile, the Programs Officer of the Third World Network Africa, Sylvester Bagooro, says the agreement can only be effective if the goods of origin policy are clearly spelled out.
Even look at what they call the protocols on goods. That means you are trading goods across Africa. We have what we call the rules of origin. That is the passport of the product. What product can actually qualify as a Ghanaian or African product is one. Number two, how the selection is done in terms of the goods. And so I want to explain this so that it will be clear. First of all, in terms of the selection of the products, that is where the President talked about the agriculture and all that. We have 90%, 70%, and 3%. And let me explain. The 90% means that all products that are coming from the rest of Africa who are party to the agreement will enter duty-free, quota-free. It means that we are not going to charge duties on them when they come to the port. They just come in like that. They'll be treated as Ghanaian products. So
Away from the Continental Free Trade, banks' profit for the first half of this year went up by about 15.5% to 1.9 billion cedis. That's according to the latest banking sector report. However, the income is lower than 36.3% growth registered during the same period last year. Here is a Business Desk report.
According to the latest banking sector report, the decline in profit levels was due mainly to sharp increases in the 3 cost elements. The central bank, however, said The industry remained sufficiently profitable during the first half of 2020, although increases in interest expenses, operational costs, and high loan loss provisions constrained profitability growth. Growth in net interest income also marginally declined to 16.5% in the first 6 months of this year. This is attributed to a much higher increase in interest expenses on the back of increased term deposits and relatively more expensive borrowing. This is attributed to a much higher increase in interest expenses on the back of increased term deposits and relatively more expensive borrowings. Interest income, on the other hand, grew by 13.7%. A much lower incremental change than the 9.4% a year ago. This partially offset the increase in interest expenses. However, despite the slowdown in credit growth during the period which affected interest income from loans, increases in investments sustained the overall interest income of banks. Also, net fees and commissions grew strongly at 10.3% from 3.7% over the period, due partly to more usage of electronic banking products and services in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Operating expenses also shot up by 12.9% during the first half of 2020 from 7.6% a year ago. This was due to the sharp 17.3% increase in banks' other operational costs, attributed largely to costs associated with the safety protocols and containment measures of COVID-19, as well as activation of business continuity plans during the period.
We have commodity news up next. So we have something spectacular coming up at 8 p.m. tonight. Ghana's Greats premiere, so we'll end business here. But if you missed any of the headlines today, you got to catch it on Quick Bits with Sandra on social media, Sandra Esenam on Facebook, and at Sandra Esenam1 on Twitter. That's how we end business tonight. My name is Sandra Esenam, and thanks so much for watching.
We're hearing that the students who are picketing at the Ministry of Health, School of Hygiene students have been dispersed, and they've been pepper sprayed by the police. And so all of that, they don't have the opportunity of sleeping there like they earlier on planned with their pillows. And I mean, those are the live videos you're seeing on the screen from the Ministry of Health where they earlier on picketed. And that'll be it for the bulletin. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching.